Good evening, my dear friends. I'm so happy to see you again here on the Healing Bedtime Stories channel. I'm Julia, and tonight I will gently guide you on a peaceful journey toward deep and calm sleep. Now, please give yourself permission to set aside all the worries of a long day, so your body and your mind can relax together. Before we listen to tonight's story, A Ticket to Childhood with Grandpa Tommy, let's take a few minutes to do a soft, soothing meditation that will help your breathing become gentle and easy, so sleep can come to you quietly and kindly. This meditation is wonderful to help you fall asleep well and enter deep sleep more easily. It helps your body recover and your mind heal. Now, you are lying comfortably and relaxed on your beloved bed. Feel the blanket gently wrapping around your body, soft and safe. If it's a little cold, you can wear warm socks to protect your feet, and put on a light shirt to keep your body cozy. The light in your room should be soft, maybe a dim lamp or a little darkness, so your eyes can rest fully. Now, softly close your eyes and let your whole body let go. There's no need to try to stop your thoughts or force your breathing to be a certain way. Just let your breath come and go naturally, like small waves touching the shore and then pulling back, smooth and calm. With every breath in, imagine your body receiving a fresh, cool air. With every breath out, let all the tension and tiredness float away, light like leaves falling in the wind. Now we will slowly relax each part of your body. Start from the top of your head, where your thoughts usually live, and let it rest. Your hair falls softly, light as clouds. Relax your forehead, letting any wrinkles melt away. Now, relax your eyes. Even closed, they can smile gently. Relax your cheeks, mouth, and jaw, letting your face become very soft. Move your attention down to your neck and shoulders, where you often carry pressure. Imagine them becoming lighter, falling onto a soft pillow like a flower petal. Your back and spine slowly stretch out, each vertebra unlocking gently. Your belly and chest relax, letting your breath pass freely without any block. Your hands, each finger, your legs, and each toe, all completely relaxed. You can feel every cell in your body being hugged, cared for, and healed. Every breath is like cool water flowing through you, washing away worries and leaving a gentle peace behind. Now, take a moment to feel grateful. Be grateful that today you had the chance to live, to talk, to love, and to see the world. Be grateful that you gave smiles, greetings, listening, and sharing. Be grateful that you are more patient and gentle with yourself today than yesterday. Be grateful even for the hard times because they helped you grow. If stray thoughts come by, don't push them away. Let them float like clouds across the sky, coming and going without holding on. Letting go doesn't mean giving up, but accepting everything in quiet peace inside. Keep breathing naturally and feel the warmth and safety spreading through your body. You are in a quiet space where the outside world slowly fades away, leaving only you and a feeling of calm. And now, as your mind and body are fully relaxed, we will gently open another door, a door leading back to childhood memories. Tonight, we will meet a kind and cheerful old man, Grandpa Tommy, 90 years old. In a magical dream, he was granted a wish by an angel. Surprisingly, he did not wish for more wealth, longer life, or better health. What he longed for most in his old age was just to go back once to his childhood, where little Tommy, 8 years old, was still carefree and innocent, living in the loving arms of his grandparents and parents. Let your mind gently float along with me as we step into the bright and emotional journey back to Grandpa Tommy's childhood. In a quiet corner of Brighton, down in the south of England, there lived a kind, cheerful old man named Tommy. Everyone called him Grandpa Tommy, the soft-spoken man with a gentle smile and stories that wrapped around your heart like a warm blanket. He had just turned 90 years old, but there was still something boyish in the way his eyes lit up when he laughed, or how his hands moved with quiet joy when he cooked. Time had aged his body, yes, but not his spirit. He was born and raised in the peaceful countryside near Brighton, Sussex, where cobbled streets, rolling green hills, and the salty scent of sea breeze painted the backdrop of his earliest days. It was the kind of place that stayed gently tucked inside his childhood memories, like an old photograph kept in the pocket of his heart. Even at 90, Grandpa Tommy was still sharp, strong, and surprisingly quick on his feet. He had a round belly, kind eyes like morning mist, and a smile as warm as fresh toast. His children loved him, of course, but it was the grandchildren who truly adored him. They always came running to sit close, to play near him, and to listen to the old stories he told, stories from a world they had never known, but felt like magic when told in his voice. His wife, the love of his life, had passed away more than 20 years ago. He still remembered the day she left, resting in his arms like a leaf falling softly in autumn. The sorrow never truly left him. It didn't scream or ache loudly. It simply settled quietly in his chest, like an old song you never forget. Still, Grandpa Tommy chose joy. He chose to live well, to stay strong, to be the steady anchor for his family. Every morning, he would wake up, smell the toast browning in the kitchen, brew a pot of tea, and say, "Good morning," not just to the day, but to life itself. He had 5 grown children and 8 grandchildren, living all across the cities of England. They didn't visit all at once, but whenever one of them came home, the house would light up like spring had suddenly walked through the front door. These days, Grandpa Tommy lived with his 4th son, along with his daughter-in-law and 2 little granddaughters. Their home was simple, but filled with warmth. One of his daily joys was cooking. He made his own breakfast every morning. Sometimes a fried egg with crisp toast. Sometimes a proper slice of bacon, just like in the old days. What made it extra special was that he never used modern vegetable oil. No, Grandpa Tommy swore by pork lard. He would laugh and tell the children the secret to living this long. Forget the seed oils. I've been cooking with lard every day for decades. The grandchildren loved watching him cook. They would sit around the kitchen table, eyes wide with wonder, as he flipped pancakes, fried potatoes, or stirred soup with his old wooden spoon. "This is how we cooked during the war," he'd say proudly. World War II style. Old-fashioned, but good. Grandpa Tommy loved cooking. When the pans sizzled and the pots bubbled and the warm smells of food filled the kitchen, it felt like he wasn't just making a meal. He was sharing memories, passing down stories and love with every stir of his wooden spoon. His grandchildren would sit around him, watching closely as he flipped pancakes or stirred soup. They listened as he told stories from when he was young, stories that felt like magic from another time. But after the laughter faded and the dishes were clean, the house became quiet. At night, after everyone had gone to bed, Grandpa Tommy would sit alone in his room. He sat in a soft massage chair, a gift from his son, holding a cup of warm chamomile tea. The little lamp beside him gave a soft, golden light. Outside, the wind moved through the branches of the old plum tree. In these quiet moments, a gentle sadness would rise in him, a kind of loneliness, soft like morning fog. It wasn't sadness about today. It wasn't fear about growing old, but it was something deeper, the feeling of missing the people who once meant everything to him. They were gone now, and even though time had passed, the space they left in his heart never truly closed. Deep in his heart, Grandpa Tommy missed the smell of stew his mother made on cold winter nights. That smell was so rich, it felt like it could warm the whole house. He missed the deep, happy laugh of his father, lifting little Tommy high in the air, spinning him like a toy while he giggled with joy. How could he ever forget his grandmother's thin hands, gently brushing through his hair and singing soft songs to help him sleep like a warm blanket? He really missed the steady sound of his grandfather's boots on the ground in the early morning, strong and sure, like the heartbeat of a safe home. Grandpa Tommy also missed the soft tapping of rain on the tin roof, and always remember the golden afternoons when he played football barefoot with his friends in the muddy fields. They laughed loudly and ran freely, full of joy. Most of his friends were gone now. Some had passed away. Some had grown old and drifted apart. Their names were no longer heard in everyday talk. Even though his family loved him deeply, Sometimes Grandpa Tommy still felt like the last page of a beautiful old book. A page no one opened anymore, but one that held the bright, colorful stories of a life once lived fully. One evening, as soft rain tapped the windows and the fire glowed quietly, Grandpa Tommy fell asleep in his chair. His breath slowed, his mind relaxed, and something wonderful happened. He found himself standing in a place that had no name. There were no walls, no ceiling, only soft white and golden light, like morning mist over a summer field. The air was still and gentle, like the breath of a newborn baby. It was quiet, calm, and peaceful, like something you might read about in the Bible, where heaven and memory touch. Then, from the light, a figure appeared. They were tall, graceful, and calm, with kind eyes that felt like they had known him forever. They looked like no one in particular, and yet somehow like everyone Tommy had ever known and loved. Not young, not old, not clearly a man or a woman, just peaceful. Light surrounded them, not bright and sharp, but soft and warm, like sunlight in the morning. The figure smiled and said, "Hello, Tommy." Grandpa Tommy opened his eyes wide, surprised but not afraid. Instead, he felt calm, like a small boy again. The voice was low and kind, like the wind in the trees on a summer day. "Who are you?" he asked quietly, his voice soft like a falling leaf. The figure smiled deeper. "You can call me a messenger, a keeper of memories, or just someone who listens." Tommy paused. Then he asked gently, "Are you an angel?" The figure nodded with warmth. "If that's what you believe, then yes, tonight I am your angel." They stood in silence together, wrapped in the soft light. Then the angel asked, "If you could have one wish, just one, what would it be, Tommy?" Tommy looked up. His eyes were wet, but not with pain. They were warm with something softer. He took a deep breath and said, "I wish for a ticket back to my childhood. I don't want to change anything. I just want to see it again. I want to feel it again. To be that little boy living under the same roof with my grandparents, my mother, and my father. I want to hear their laughter again and be loved the way I was loved back then, just one more time." The angel didn't explain anything. There were no big words, no promises, just kindness. They simply opened their hand, palm up, like holding something sacred. "Then come," the angel said softly. "Let me take you there." Grandpa Tommy took a step forward. In that moment, he was no longer an old man with silver hair and slow steps. He became a quiet observer, standing beside a silent angel, watching himself as a barefoot 8-year-old boy running freely across the green fields of Sussex. The wind played with his messy brown hair, and his eyes sparkled like the morning sun over the sea. His laughter rang through the air, clear and light like wind chimes. Then a familiar scent drifted by, so strong it made his heart ache. It was the smell of his mother's beef stew, tender beef, sweet carrots, and soft potatoes. It wasn't just the smell of dinner. It was the scent of home, of comfort, of love, that asked for nothing in return. "Tommy, wash your hands and invite your grandparents to dinner, honey." His mother's voice called from the little red brick house behind a fence full of wildflowers. Tommy, now 92 years old, froze. He turned toward the voice, and his heart nearly stopped. "Oh God, Mommy, is it really you? I thought I'd never see you again. Mommy, do you know how much I've missed you?" Tommy couldn't hold it in anymore. Tears streamed down his cheeks, warm and steady, as if years of longing had finally found their way out. His face flushed, his chest tightened, and for a moment he felt like a little boy again, standing in front of the one person in the world who had loved him first and most. His mother stood in the doorway, her round, gentle figure so familiar, like someone stepping out of an old painting. She was holding a kitchen towel in one hand, her face glowing in the golden afternoon light. Her long brown hair fell softly over her shoulders, and her eyes still filled with the same tenderness that had stayed with him his whole life. Then his father appeared, smiling warmly as he opened his arms wide. The young boy Tommy ran into them with joy. Through the window, his grandparents smiled, as if they had been waiting for this moment for a long, long time, and as if there had never been distance, never been death, never been all those lonely nights filled with aching memories. This was not a dream, not just a memory. This was real, a reality made of love, presence, and all the things he thought were lost forever. Tears rolled silently down the old man's wrinkled face. He stood still, clutching the edge of his coat, as if afraid that blinking might make it all disappear like morning mist. The angel beside him stayed silent. There was nothing to say. The rhythm of his heart said it all. The wonder, the longing, and above all, the deep gratitude. That evening, the family sat around their old wooden table. The beef stew steamed gently, filling the room with warmth and comfort. His parents picked vegetables for little Tommy, who chatted excitedly about his day in the field. His grandparents sat quietly, holding hands beneath the table, smiling with soft, peaceful eyes. The clink of spoons against plates, the sound of laughter under the soft yellow glow of the lamp. It was all so simple, yet so perfect. And Tommy knew, deep in his heart, he had never truly lost his family. Time may have taken away his youth, his parents, his grandparents, but not the love, not the memories. They had always been there, sleeping quietly inside him, because nothing is ever truly gone when it is kept with love. And in the twilight of his life, Tommy had finally come home fully and peacefully. After dinner, the father stood up and gently carried little Tommy to the bathroom. His voice was deep and calm, and his large, steady hands felt like they could hold the entire fragile, dreaming world of his young son. Every slow step he took, every careful hug, even the soft way he closed the door, it all gave off a quiet peace, a kind of safety that words can't describe. Tommy, now an old man nearing the end of his life, stood silently beside an angel, watching his father in that moment. Tommy couldn't touch him, couldn't call out to him. He could only observe, like a visitor in his own memory. The father leaned down and turned on the shower, letting warm water flow gently over the boy's messy brown hair. He worked the shampoo into a soft lather, carefully washing his son's hair with such tenderness as if afraid of hurting his little Tommy. The white foam clung to the hair, then slowly slid down the back of his neck. The gentle scent of soap filled the room, and the sound of water whispered like a lullaby. "Did you have fun playing soccer with your friends today, son?" "Yes, it was fun, but I fell and scraped my knee." The boy answered softly, his voice small and a little shaky. From the warmth, from the sudden attention, from love that felt so close. His father chuckled gently and wiped his face with a soft towel. "Try to sleep early tonight, all right? You've got school tomorrow. And don't forget to bring those new colored pencils I bought you. You've got art class in the morning." Such simple words, and yet they tightened something deep in old Tommy's chest. That ordinary scene, one he had lived through 1,000 times, now felt like a long-lost melody, familiar and heartbreakingly beautiful. He had spent his whole life working, providing, thinking that being a father meant staying strong, staying busy. But in the end, it was moments like this, the quiet ones that children remember forever. Around 9 o'clock, Grandma gently pushed the door open and stepped into the small bedroom, still exactly as Tommy remembered it from his childhood. Warm, cream-colored walls, the windows slightly open to welcome the salty sea breeze, and the old brown teddy bear resting on the pillow, patiently waiting for its hug. Grandma sat on the edge of the bed, her hand warm and steady on Tommy's forehead, patting softly as though each touch carried a quiet promise of love. Then she began to read. And yes, exactly that voice, deep, tender, with the faintest tremble, as if she held an entire world of fairy tales in every word. Night after night, it was the same little Tommy lying there, his eyes growing heavy, drifting into golden castles, green forests, and bright, boundless adventures. Peace like that, only Grandma could give. Grandpa Tommy stood in the corner, silent. Tears stung his eyes as scents he thought long forgotten came rushing back. The clean smell of freshly washed fabric, the sweet aroma of apple pies, the gentle fragrance of the hands that had carried him through so many dreams. When the little boy finally drifted into sleep, he sat down beside him, his own aged hand brushing the tiny fingers that had once been his own. And in a voice barely more than a breath, he whispered, almost as if confessing to himself, "Tommy, do you know how truly lucky you are? Once you were loved more than anything else in this world." It was early Sunday morning. A cheerful knock came at the door, quick and eager, as if it wanted to break apart the thin mist still resting on the roof. On the porch stood his childhood friends, Sam, Peter, Rosie, and Billy, their young faces glowing with excitement. "Tommy, come play soccer." The sound of that call went straight to his heart, tearing open all the long, empty years since he'd last heard it. Sam, wearing that sky blue t-shirt with the faded Mickey Mouse print, worn soft from so many washes. Rosie, her two neat braids falling over her shoulders, carrying the faint scent of sunshine. And Billy, Peter, their bright laughter still seemed to echo in the air. But two of them had been gone for a long time now, leaving only him and Rosie in the cold flow of time. Little Tommy ran after them, his bare feet pressing into the wet grass as they raced toward the open field behind the house. A patch of land between old weathered farms and rows of apple trees covered in white blossoms. The sound of the ball hitting their feet, the bursts of laughter. Each wave of sound washed gently over his memory. Grandpa Tommy followed slowly. With each step, he felt a little younger. He remembered the ball rolling under his shoe, the happy shouts, the friendly pats on the shoulder, and the kind of laughter that came for no reason at all. He stood at the edge, not touching the ball, but inside, his heart was running with them. And in that moment, he understood he hadn't come back to fix the past, nor to trade it for something else. He had come back for this, to touch just once more that pure and simple love. To feel those weightless moments again, where one hug could make all sadness fade, and falling asleep in his grandmother's arms could make every fear disappear. Many grown-ups carry an invisible wound, not because they lack food or clothes, but because they were never truly loved the right way as a child. As for Grandpa Tommy, he once had everything. That's why his longing feels so deep and intense. For him, going back to his childhood is not about living in the past, but a gentle reminder that he was once loved and happy, and that love still lives within him, never gone. He knows that for the rest of his life, he must live fully with his children and grandchildren. No more lonely days drifting by, but cherishing every moment and nurturing happiness for himself. More than that, he wants to paint a bright and warm childhood for his children and grandchildren, just like his parents and grandparents did for little Tommy long ago. That morning slowly melted into sunlight. An angel came quietly beside him, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder without a word. Grandpa Tommy turned, his eyes seeming to hold on to time itself. "I have come home," he whispered. "Thank you. Thank you for making my wish come true, for reminding me of the love I once had, and helping me see clearly how precious life is now. Because of you, I understand how much I have to be grateful for, and how deeply I want to treasure every moment I still have." The angel smiled, a soft, kind smile that never left his heart. Then he woke up, back in his small room in Brighton. The teacup was cold, but inside him, the warmth of a night loved like before still remained lively, along with a quiet urge to live well, to live happily, for today and all the days to come. Thank you for staying with Grandpa Tommy's story, A Ticket to Childhood, until these final moments. I hope his journey has warmed your heart and reminded you of the beauty in cherishing every moment we have. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Every subscription is a precious encouragement that helps us bring you more healing bedtime stories like this. Good night, and may you dream sweet, beautiful dreams.